Hello, I'm Martin L. Shoemaker, one of the authors in Robots Through the Ages, an exciting new anthology coming from Blackstone Publishing, July 25th, edited by Robert Silverberg and Bryan Schmidt. This book is a history of robot stories across the field of science fiction going back more than 100 years, including 3 new stories never before seen just for this volume, including one of mine. And I have loved the stories in this volume, and I would like to put together a video reviewing each of the different stories within it and share it with you so that you can see what you can get in this amazing volume. Next up in Robots Through the Ages, For a Breath I Tarry by Roger Zelazny. Our story opens as follows. They called him Frost. Of all things created of Solcom, Frost was the finest, the mightiest, the most difficult to understand. This is why he bore a name and why he was given dominion over half the earth. On the day of Frost's creation, Solcom had suffered a discontinuity of complementary functions best described as madness. This was brought on by an unprecedented solar flare-up which lasted for a little over 36 hours. It occurred during a vital phase of circuit structuring, and when it was finished, so was Frost. Solcom was then in the unique position of having created a unique being during a period of temporary amnesia. And Solcom was not certain that Frost was the product originally desired. This is from the award-winning fantasist Roger Zelazny. Another reason why I'm so honored to be in this collection with one of the writers I grew up reading. Particularly, I grew up reading his Amber series. Originally the Chronicles of Amber, and then expanded into a 10-book set. The books were smaller then. Today, all 10 books get collected into one giant book. Chronicles of Amber, a wonderful series that is sort of like if you took the traditional British stories of the Fae living in other worlds and having their influences on humanity, but their own wars and struggles, and reimagine that as gritty fantasy. That's Amber, although no one describes it that way. If you look under the hood and look at all the names and look at all the conventions, he has adapted the tropes of traditional British fantasy into something uniquely Zelazny. And you can find that at the QR code indicated. Zelazny was famous for that sort of gritty fantasy, but also for stuff that was more esoteric, more metaphorical, and atmospheric. And that is For a Breath I Tarry. The story is straightforward, but the concepts are cosmic. I am sorry, excellent beta machine. I know you are my peer, but this is a problem which I must solve myself. What is sorry? A figure of speech indicating that I am kindly disposed to you, that I bear you no animosity, that I appreciate your offer. Frost, this too is like the other, an open field. Where did you obtain all these words and their meanings? From the library of man, said Frost. Will you render me some of this data for processing? Very well, Beta. I will transmit you the contents of several books of man, including the complete unabridged dictionary. But I warn you, some of the books are works of art, hence not completely amenable to logic. How can that be? Man created logic, and because of that was superior to it. Earlier I mentioned Larry Niven saying science fiction is in a conversation with itself. Here's a good example. There are some of the same themes and concepts in For a Breath I Tarry by Roger Zelazny as in the earlier work we looked at, Instinct by Lester Del Rey. A world where humanity is gone and robots remain and are trying to understand their history. But Del Rey and Zelazny are very different writers with very different styles, So even though they're attacking the same concept, the approaches are wonderfully different. Definitively Del Rey and definitively Zelazny. And the ending of this one hit me completely out of left field and made me laugh, because it's an ending that you see in some other stories, but never quite like Zelazny did it.